Hi everybody, this is Dr. Reuben here, and this is going to be a very short lecture on how you can refine your microscope photography. This talk is intended for an existing microscope user and presented with the assumption that you already have a microscope and documentation set up. So we will not be discussing things like what microscope to buy, the cameras and the accessories that you will need, and what settings in the camera will work best for you. So when it comes to taking pictures through a microscope for endodontic purpose, rarely will you get the opportunity or the requirement to take a picture like this. And almost always it is going to be an indirect image that is captured using a mouth mirror. So the mouth mirror you use is largely going to influence the outcome of your image quality. Here are two images that have been taken using the same microscope and camera, but two different mirrors. I'm sure you can appreciate the difference in the light output. My personal choice for taking photos using a microscope are the Zerk mirrors. One other thing you can do, or one thing I do routinely, is I have a separate set of mirrors that I use exclusively for taking photos only. I do not use them for routine work because during routine work we tend to scratch the mirrors. So I would take pictures with these photography mirrors and I'll put them back safely so that they stay in the best of shape and do not compromise the image output. So what you are looking at here are two very visually pleasing images. But what else you are seeing is they are completely out of focus. A very common question asked by most microscope users is, when I look at the tooth through the microscope, the image is really sharp and clear. But when I click a picture, the images get blurred. The reason for this problem is very simple. The eyes and the camera perceive and appreciate the same image differently. They do not synchronize. Even though you might power focus your microscope before you start work, if the purpose of clicking that picture is for quality of the image purely, then I would recommend that you get off the eyepiece, look at a monitor that is close to you, adjust the fine focus and click the image. So when you click pictures using a microscope, there is going to be one other problem, which is vibration. So when you press the clicker on the camera, you will move the microscope, which will result in blurry images. To avoid this problem, it is advisable to have a wireless or a wired clicker separately and ask your assistant to click the picture after you are done focusing the image. Another problem we all might have routinely encountered is when we have these really wide axis preparations or when we're trying to focus the occlusal surface of a tooth, we get good bright images. But then, when we're trying to capture images that are deep down the root canal space or through conservative access preparations, there is inadequate light and we end up getting dark images. Of course, the best solution is to have a microscope that has a brilliant light source, but then if there is a constraint in that area, how can this be managed? That's exactly what we're going to look at in the next few slides. What we are looking at here is a mandibular molar, the mesial root canal system with a mesiobuccal, mesiolingual and a middle mesial canal. But then this information is not clearly visible in this picture. There are three things you can do to improve this. The first thing you can do is, if at all, for that particular case, I intend giving an interim dressing of calcium hydroxide before a subsequent visit, I would plan and take my picture at that point, because light from the microscope, when it falls on the calcium hydroxide, which is white, is going to get thrown back and there's going to be more light and clarity inside the root canal space. This is one thing you can do. The next thing is, I would delay the image capture as far as the obturation part, where I would have painted the root canals with sealer, and of course all sealers are light colored and they are also going to throw back a lot of light and make the image a lot more clearer. The third thing you can do is delay taking the picture until you complete the obturation. The GP inside the root canal space is going to do the same job your sealer and the calcium hydroxide did as mentioned in the earlier slide. It's going to throw back a lot of light and the information inside the canal space is going to be a lot more evident. Here you can clearly see that there are three separate orifices, and also that these three orifices are present at three different levels. You can clearly see that the middle mesial is actually a lot lower than the other two main canals. This is another mistake among microscope users. What you have to understand is, unless and until you have a good documentation set up, if you are going to crop the image too much and try getting too deep into the area where you want to explain something, the image is going to get blurred. So if you don't have a great documentation set up, I would recommend that you do not crop your image too much. So what you are looking at here is the very same image that you saw on the previous slide, but the only difference in the image on top is that I have included some amount of the surrounding structures as well, and what you can appreciate is this image definitely looks a lot brighter and sharper as compared to the one in the below where I've cropped too close. So the rule is very simple. If you have a good documentation setup, go for it, crop as much as possible, get it as close as possible to the area of interest. But then if it is not that great, if you're going to crop and get too close to what you want to show, you will end up exposing the fact that it is a low quality image. So in continuation with what we had discussed earlier, unless and until your setup, your documentation setup is good, you cannot afford to crop and get too close to the subject of interest like in this picture. One other question I get a lot whenever I share my pictures is, what do you do to edit your images? The answer to this is very simple. I hardly do anything at all, and the fact remains that a bad picture can never be made a good picture by any amount of editing. We can only refine the existing picture to a very small extent, probably about 10-15%. That's as far as it goes. So let me show you what I normally do in most of the cases. The picture you saw in the earlier slide was like this, straight off the camera. Too much of yellow into it. So what I want you to see here is I have not used any fancy software or application to edit my image. The image editor that was present in Keynote has been used by itself, and the only three parameters that have been tweaked up a little are the exposure, the saturation, and the sharpness. Having mentioned sharpness, I would strongly recommend that you do not overdo it. Though it will clearly define the outlines of your picture, when you overdo it, the image looks like it is something straight out of a comic book, which is definitely not visually pleasing, and it looks too artificial as well. So having discussed so much, I think you might have observed that all that we're trying to do in our pictures is to try and enhance or control the light that is available for the image capture. Try compensating for the unavailability of light in most microscopes. The rubber dams themselves play a significant role in it. So let's discuss how this works. Of late, many colorful rubber dams have been introduced in the market, and I really don't know why. I have tried them all, and the image outcomes have been very average. What happens here is either they tend to suck off the light or divert the attention from the tooth to themselves, being as colorful as they are. I'm sure you can appreciate the same after having looked at these images. My personal choice, or the only thing I would recommend if your purpose is to get good pictures or have a rubber dam sheet that doesn't sting your eyes too much when you're working, the only two colors are blue and black, light blue and black. They will give you the best amount of light and contrast for your images, and your images will look a lot better. I'm sure you will agree with me on this after looking at these two pictures. So with this we come pretty much to the end of this little talk, and last but not the least, I have to mention one very simple thing that we all forget. We all work day in and day out. There is a lot of splatter going back onto the objective lens, and we forget to wipe them out after every case. These drops that are present on the objective lens tend to block light, which is very essential to get a good picture. I hope you found this useful, and if you have any doubts and questions regarding what was discussed here today, please drop in a message. I'll be glad to get back to you. And also, if you have any recommendations or topics that you'd like me to discuss in the future, please mention them as well. Thank you.